seem to get it out. Blank space where you shut my mouth. Filled yours with love to spit it out. I thought we wanted the same thing. Trust me, it's alright. Goodbye. Now let me try to sleep. I don't care to say goodnight. It would be a lie. Another fleeting dream. Trust me, it's alright. Goodbye. You never meant anything. You mean nothing to me. Just stay at home, so lost and alone. Be here, unknown. Don't tell a soul. Been so down since you left. Can't get out of this hole. Stay safe at home, so lost and alone.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. I've forgotten to turn my camera on. Aren't I an intelligent human being? Yes, I am, is the answer to that question. Should we do a never mind, I was going to say, should we do a blind stream? No. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another installment of Touchline Talk with your boy, LNobbins. Today we are going to be touching on the performance against Swansea. Were there any things to learn from that performance? I want to focus on the key man from that full 90 minutes, Shirky, of course, and we have spoken about it at length on the channel, but I do think it's apt to bring up the topic again of what is the best way to get Shirky into the team, and is that essential in order to maximise Manchester City's ceiling and make us the best possible team that we can be. Spoilers, TLDR, I would argue that yes, that is exactly what we should be doing to maximise City. Maybe you guys have a different POV. So this is going to be like a half brainstorm session, I suppose. What's the best way to get him into the side and that sort of thing. And as always, we will go off on tangents. We will discuss many other things as always. Please make sure you are leaving a like on the video because it is free and it helps support your boy. How are we all doing this fine afternoon? Big up to you, Sachin. Happy Halloween, says Fenway. Yes, absolutely. If you do Halloween, big up to you. You know, I don't really do Halloween personally, but we have some sweets that we will put in a, you know, like a pumpkin plastic bowl that we just leave outside the door, and we just like trust people to not take the mickey, basically. Like we leave a little note. So that's sort of taking part in Halloween, isn't it? We do have a curry tonight. That's on the way. It's scheduled because Deliveroo are doing like 50% off or something. So we were like, hell yeah. So we are going to watch. I think we're going to watch the original Halloween tonight, and then we're going to watch Scary Movie. You know, like the parody film, which is one of the best films ever, whilst eating our curry. So that's going to be a lovely time tonight. Let's go. This is Fireborn, definitely. Hey, Semenyo is having a great season. Absolute boy. Absolute boy. Good afternoon, Yanko. Big ups to you. First time from Kenya. Hello, Factify. Shirky Nation, rise up. Hello, Hazard. Hello, Leon. We've got IDK Man who's offering a solution. Maybe we can have a chat about that. Yeah, this whole... I'm going to push back on this massively, definitely. Hello, Handleship. 422 would be amazing, says Fenway. Pumpkin curry. Nah. It's a chicken balti. Pilau rice, and garlic naan. I suggested shall we get some onion bhajis, but Mrs. Nobbins wasn't too keen on that. So it's a lot of food though. Like we've gone for 2 chicken baltis each and 2 garlic naans and 1 pilau rice to share because it was 50% off. You know, it was something that should have cost like over £30. It's going to cost us around 16. So we're locking in. We're going for that. It was very lovely. Thank you, Clark Kent. Yeah, it was really nice. It was really lovely. Yeah, it was really nice. Watch a Haunted House, Halloween Town franchise now, just the first one. Hello, True Citizen. Change your name, please, True Citizen. Can you change your act? Because I know you are True Citizen. Can you, like, change it if you don't mind? Thank you. Even if you do mind, I don't care. Do it. Yeah, it's a great movie, isn't it, that, Jim? Don't think Shirky's ready for central midfield yet. I don't think he's ready for the off-ball work, says Danny. That's definitely something that we want to chat about. Love that from you, Strawberry Cheesecake. From next week, Football Manager is released properly. We had a play with it yesterday, just creating my manager profile and that sort of thing. But from next week, I think, because I want to do some streams, some footy streams, watch-alongs on Tuesday, Wednesday. But on Thursday, be the first proper Football Manager stream. So if you're not already following the Twitch, make sure you do so, because it's going to be a lovely time with Cork City, who are the worst team in the division, I believe, because they just got promoted and they're always in financial issues. So we will be over on Twitch Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday evenings when there isn't a watch along that we are doing on the YouTube. So if you want to see me spoilers, I'm going to be trying to implement the treble system to Cork City, so we're going to see how that goes. Big up to Tarek for following the Twitch. Love that from you. Okay, let's have a chat, shall we, about the whole Shirky... I don't know if dilemma is the right word, but I think question is certainly... Conundrum is maybe a better word. It's certainly a fun word. It's certainly a fun word. Now, the sample size is very, very small. It's worth noting... Thank you so much, True Citizen. Love that from you. It's worth noting that we've never had a squad, and by that I mean a starting 11 and bench, which has had all three of a fully fit Reinders, Shirky, Foden. And the only time we've seen that was against Spurs, and Foden wasn't fit to start. Sorry, I think the other time we saw that was against Everton, but Shirky wasn't fit to start. You know, Foden was coming back from an injury against Spurs, came on late on, looked good. Shirky wasn't fit to start against Everton, came on, looked good. So similar vibes. So I don't think we've ever had it where all three are available in the squad and have all been fully fit at the same time. Because yesterday, Reinders wasn't actually on the bench. Wednesday, whenever it was, Reinders wasn't actually on the bench. So we haven't yet seen all of them available together. So we don't actually fully know what Guardiola's thinking is. What is his thought process? Because there's very little to work off. We can say, but what about the Club World Cup? But bit of a weird asterisk, because it was like a post-season / pre-season competition and blah 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 blah, and like getting used to new players. So I don't know how relevant that is, to be honest, because in fairness they were available at that time, but you know that was a thing. So we obviously don't know what Pep has in his little bald head as to how he sees it. So a lot of this is going to be guesswork. But that's fine. I think that can still be helpful, and that can be an interesting thing to have a chat about. Now, I suppose the ideal hypothetical would be you just play Shirky and Foden, because the long and short of it is that we can all hopefully agree that the best version of City is going to be a City that starts both Foden and Shirky in the sides as a starter. Hopefully we can all agree on that. The follow-up to that is that to take that one step further, is that both of these players play in the centre when we are in possession. I believe that that's not a controversial thing to say. I think that everyone's pretty much of that view that you need to have Shirky and Foden in the team in this context, in this conversation about Shirky. Now, I did say on ball there because the off ball situation becomes a bit more interesting, I think. Because if you're going to play See, barring any crazy massive formation change, barring any massive formational changes, let's operate under the assumption that Pep's either going to play a 4-3-3, which is what we've played for almost exclusively this season off ball, or a 4-1-4-1. Let's, for argument's sake, just say that's going to be a thing. We can also say 4-4-2, but just for the purposes of this video, I'm going to have the starting point of it's got our working parameters have to be a structure that we have used a lot this season. So I don't want to get too hypothetical and go into, like, you know, insane shapes that we haven't actually seen all season to potentially accommodate it. I want to try to make it as realistic as possible. One would assume that one of Nico or Rodri would start, of course, in midfield. So essentially that means that we've got like 3 options in the centre. Sorry, I'm talking about off-ball here. So that my starting point is actually an off-ball shape. I think that's a trickier starting point, and that's more apt. Yeah, exactly, Fenway. So either a 4-3-3 or a 4-1-4-1. So let's just reduce that and say that there are 3 midfielders for the purposes of the off-ball shape. Again, we can talk about 4-4-2, in which case one of the midfielders goes up to striker. But, you know, generally speaking, let's just say that. What's this? Sorry, something's just opened on my screen. Hello. Sorry, an app opened up without permission, yeah, on my computer, and it upset me. So what a defensive midfielder obviously has to play one of them, one of Rodri or Nico, you would assume. So that basically would leave 2 spots in the centre for Foden, Reinders, and Cherki. And there's obviously 3 players there. So that means that you either have to drop one of those players, in general anyway, of course, like we play lots of games, it doesn't have to be the same starting 11 every single time, or you play one of those players elsewhere. So you play Foden out wide, or you play Cherki out wide, or if you're playing 4-4-2, you play them as one of the 2 strikers. So let's have a chat about that now, shall we? And like, what's the most optimal, what's the most realistic? Now, I can't remember what people said like just before the stream started. I don't think people were advocating for this. I think they were saying that, you know, is that going to happen? Or that's what some people are suggesting. This idea that Foden must get pushed out wide, either on ball or off ball, for me is a non-starter as a concept. I would hate that for a number of reasons. In possession, of course, like that's unacceptable, and I would not entertain that at all. The off-ball one is also interesting, though, because there's some really interesting data that's come out about Foden. Now, in fairness, we didn't need this data to know how good he's been off-ball, but it is still very interesting, nevertheless, to have it confirmed. Foden off-ball in midfield, and that's where he's played. Apart from Arsenal, that's where he's played every single game this season, off ball as a central midfielder. He has one of the highest ball recovery rates of any City player in the Premier League this season. And there was another one, I bookmarked the tweet. Once again, like just eradicating this myth that Foden's is poor out of possession. Distance covered, Foden is 5th in Europe's top 5 leagues. Yeah, you thought I was going to say 5th compared to City players, didn't you? Yeah? No. 5th compared to every other player in Europe's top 5 leagues. Now, this is not a lazy player. Clearly, I've no idea where that actually came from, because it's just not true. It's just not true. So, and that also lends into can I find the ball recovery stats? This is all important context for Cherki, by the way. This is all very important context for the Cherki situation. Just give me a second. I think there's a ball recovery stat somewhere that I've favorited or kept? I can't find it now. No, here it is. Yes, a ball recoveries this season for City. Foden second. Second. Only behind Bernardo, who is another one of those like workhorse midfielders, of course. So that tells me, realistically, that the age of having the debate about whether Foden can be this reliable off-ball midfielder, that era is done. This season has proven it once and for all. I know we're only at the start of it, but every single performance has demonstrated that. Because you can't point me to a single game where Foden has been poor off-ball this season. It hasn't happened. What does that tell us? It tells us that he is a very, very reliable, genuine option as a true central midfielder off ball. Lovely. What does that mean? Well, that means that in theory, if that continues as like a competent all-round off-ball midfielder, which is, as I say, is what he has demonstrated, coupled with either one of or both of Rodri returning to, you know, full sharpness, fitness, whatever, and or Nico Gonzalez massively improving defensively as he has been doing and just being absolutely fantastic, just generally, why can't Shirky also just be played centrally off ball? Which is not something I ever thought I would be saying this early into the season. So maybe this is a bit too gung-ho from me. I'm not even saying... that's still not my preferred choice, really, because I still want Reinders in the team. But why can't that be a thing? What is the justification for that not being a thing? Just as a concept, before we even touch on, you know, maybe popping Shirky to right wing and using him as a false winger with a pure right back. Why can't that happen? Because Nico has illustrated how solid he is defensively. In fact, there was like those charts where he's like one of the best RE, like winning duels and whatnot, basically off-ball work. Like Nico is up there, RE Europe. Foden is also up there for the ground coverage, for the ball recoveries, and just for his general pressing. Why can't those two, as a combination, then have Shirky popped in there as well? As a concept, I'll repeat, that is not actually my preferred midfield, because Shirky has never... Well, sorry. For Leon, I don't think he ever played there. Calico, I think you're misunderstanding, matey. We're talking about off-ball right now. Yeah, Shirky never played in central midfield off-ball for Leon, as far based on my viewing of him. It was always either right wing or at 10 or as a wide midfielder. However, that's exclusively where Pep has played him to start the season. That is exclusively where Pep has played him. So perhaps Pep does view it as a true option there. The physicality point that JS brings is definitely valid. I guess all I would say to that is we did have a midfield of that had David Silva and Kevin De Bruyne in it. Now, Kevin De Bruyne is an underrated physical player, but I would argue that Foden, from a physicality perspective, is superior to David Silva. Now, again, these are different levels of players, but I don't really know if I buy that ultimately as a reason, to be honest with you. I still think it can work, and I still think it can be a thing, to be honest, because we've seen your Pep sides before have supreme technicians, techie ballers, as they say, in the midfield, and it can still work an absolute treat. I don't think you necessarily need to have that necessarily. So I think it could work, and it would be reliant on Nico progressing defensively. It would rely on Foden being able to continue his amazing work off ball, and it would also be. And here's the thing, because we are sort of basically acting like Shirky's like a non-factor in the midfield, but there's no reason why he can't improve as also. Now, it would need to improve. I think that of those three players, if we're talking about it off ball, I think the biggest problem would be Shirky, because and that's not a diss, it's just like a thing that he's never really consistently played in as a pure central midfielder off ball. He's done it once this season, again, very limited sample size. He's done it once this season against a decent opposition, and he was clearly very confused as to what his role was off ball, and he was poor off ball. That is fair to say. But there's no reason why that can't become a thing maybe in the near future. Because like Shirky is a player who's clearly willing to do it in bursts, and he can do it physically in bursts, absolutely. He isn't this lazy player that certain outlets try to frame him as before we signed him. Like, that was insane. He's never been like that level of player. Perhaps it's too soon to say that he could be part of that trio with Foden and Nico. Because I'll repeat, I don't have any concerns with Nico off ball based on like this season so far. I don't have any concerns with Foden off ball based on this season so far. The only factor is therefore going to be Shirky. So if you want Shirky to play off ball in the centre, I think that we have to look at, and we want like what could be the best midfield of those two. I think that you've got to look to Shirky to go, okay, well, you need to improve it, in the off ball department. And that's hopefully going to come with time. And if he is played in that area of the pitch, then that just comes with experience and learning the role. I would be very surprised. Even though I've just like spoken for like 20 minutes about how that could hypothetically be a thing. I would be very surprised if that's ultimately what we did this season. Because Foden has been at this club for... I mean, he's been at this club since he's a baby, but in the first team picture for 8 years, and he's had ridiculous competition in front of him. But even in his Player of the Year season, outside of a couple of instances, big games in fairness, he was never, I don't know if trusted is the right word, but it's a word I'm going to use, trusted to do that. Only happened a couple of times, even in his Player of the Year season. He played midfield on ball, but didn't play it off ball, outside of Real Madrid at home, and then West Ham at home, and Leipzig away, or Leipzig at home. That was in the 4-3-3. In our 4-4-2, it was only twice. So that's how long it took for him to earn that degree of trust. So I would be surprised if Shirky was afforded that. If our starting point is we want it to be, Nico and Foden, let's say. That remains to be seen. A more likely, shorter term situation would probably, again, I'm only talking about off ball, a more likely shorter term situation in my head, but it's not what we've seen in reality, so maybe I'm chatting nonsense here because we haven't seen it at all, is to still obviously play Nico and Foden in the central midfield, of course. That's a non-negotiable for me. Play a more typical central midfielder in that midfield, i.e. Reinders, or even Rodri, Nico, whatever, but an actual central midfielder there. And instead, protect Shirky off ball by popping him out wide, left or right, actually. I'd say right is more optimal, but left could also technically be a thing. And just ensure that you give him access to the centre with your on-ball shape, which is really easily done. So when people are suggesting, such as myself, are suggesting, play Shirky at right wing, that is not the same as, you're limiting him because you're not giving him the access to the centre and the freedom to roam and that sort of thing. That is not the same thing at all. That would be like saying that in his Player of the Year season, Foden wasn't given access to the centre. That's not true, clearly, because he played in midfield on ball for the vast majority of that season. And I don't think anyone would look at Foden that season and go, oh, wow, by playing him as a false winger, which is the term for that, you are limiting him and giving him access to the centre. That's insane. No one would ever say that. No one would ever say that. The people saying Foden's got to hold right wing or whatever, I don't think you understand the basic principle of on ball and off ball. Please rewind 10-15 minutes. We're not entertaining that today. It's not happening. In my head, that makes the most sense. Because there is zero off-ball weaknesses introduced by doing that. Or no more additional weaknesses anyway. Because it's the same centre that we've been playing for the vast majority of the season. So nothing's changed there. Nothing has changed there. All that's changed is the off-ball right winger. Yeah, we've got some jokers in the chat who don't really understand what I'm saying. So, and that would also be great for Shirky as well, because that's primarily where he played for Lyon at right wing. So that introduces zero pressing or off-ball concerns or weaknesses, because that's where he played for Lyon. Primarily, right wing off-ball, and then he was given access to the centre. That, I think, is the perfect thing. As I say, rewind 15 minutes if you're trying to understand my point of view. I literally said, rewind 15 minutes. I don't plan to repeat myself. It's boring. Rewind. So that would be lovely, I think. So a 4-3-3 or a 4-1-4-1, preferably a 4-3-3. That still enables you to have your midfield that you are having this season, for the most part. So we're not introducing any weaknesses. You're easily getting Shirky on the pitch, and you are not limiting yourself on ball either. And that's a very good point, Cams. This is all reliant on the fullback overlapping / providing width, if it happens. Now, the good thing is that can technically happen either left or right. Now, in an ideal world, it would happen right, because we know that our left wing options in Marmoush, Doku are a lot more. I don't know what the term is here. They've demonstrated themselves as being more assured. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. More assured than the right side. We keep having this conversation about how the right side is up for grabs, because so far this season the main options there have been Savio and Bob. People are getting more and more concerned by Bob week on week. Savio's still a very young winger. He's, to be fair, he's the same age as Shirky, but he's a very inexperienced winger. That side is more up for grabs. So technically you could play Shirky at left wing and then have Aït-Nouri or Nico O'Reilly push up, because he did actually sometimes play at left wing for Lyon. Again, very, very intermittently. I think he actually played more so left midfield than left wing, but sometimes it did happen. There were occasions where he was pressing from the left, so he can still do that. The only concern there is that Shirky's best moments are going to, obviously in the centre, but more specifically right of centre is where you're going to see the best of Shirky. This is based on his Lyon career anyway, which is all I have to base it off. And also, really, his City career as well, because I'd say his best moments for City have always been at best right of centre, like whether it was against Swansea or whether it was in the Club World Cup as well, like it's or against Wolves when he came on also. Those for me has been like his best actual areas of the pitch. So, and that actually blends itself well perfectly because you all know my thoughts on where Foden's best position is, and that's left of centre. So this is adding up to be quite a nice situation for City. This is based on what I would like to see anyway. As we've outlined, that would basically mean that, and this is why right back is so essential. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to just address something because many people keep misunderstanding what I am saying here. When I say a player is playing out wide, I'm talking about off ball. If you keep saying you are limiting play by playing a player at right wing when I'm talking about Marmoush at left wing or Shirky at right wing, I'm sorry, you do not understand what I'm talking about in respect to the differences between off ball and on ball. That's the final time I'm going to say it because I'm making a conscious effort to be more chill on my streams and not get annoyed at people. Say it again and I will time you out because it's getting very boring. Okay? There's a difference between on ball and off ball. Please don't make me angry. I can't get triggered so easily, man. That is very reliant on the right back pushing up and providing that width, or the left back pushing up and providing that width. That's actually fine on the left because we know that Aït-Nouri and O'Reilly can already do that. The concern for me, and again, the reason why I wanted a right back, is that our only real option to do that is Núñez, and his best games this season have not actually even been in that role. I think that we've played Núñez as an overlapping fullback maybe once or twice. How many? Can you guys confirm that for me? How many times do you think we played? Because it seems to me whenever we've played Núñez for the vast majority of this season, it's basically exclusively been as a right centre back. So I don't know if we've ever really seen it where that's not been the case. I feel like it's nearly always been, as I say, right centre back rather than as an actual width holder. And that's a concern because that means that this whole thing that I'm talking about is it is basically a moot point if we're not actually going to see it. I do still think that that is a solution, and perhaps that is a more viable solution in the short term. I still think that in the short term, that is a really nice way to slowly integrate Shirky into the team longer term. I would much rather that than, him only getting occasional starts and that sort of thing. I mean, ideally, he just starts in the centre on ball and off ball. I'm a bit concerned as to whether that's realistic or not. So I'm trying to think of a more conservative / realistic way of getting him into the team. So that's where I'm at with it. I'm going to come to the chat now. Apologies, I've been ignoring you. Not ignoring you, but not addressing enough. That's where I am at with it. I really think I would love it to be short term. You have Núñez, Shirky on that right side. Núñez pushes up, Shirky drifts into the centre, and longer term, you just have Shirky out right central midfield, accompanied by the really good off-ball work that we've seen Nico and Foden illustrate this season. But that's a totally different out-of-possession role that he has had in his career so far. So it would be a bit of a learning curve and experience. That's the only reason why I'm not absolutely locked into the concept of it, because it's a totally new position for him, because he never played there for Lyon. So I'm trying to make the embedding process in my head as straightforward as possible, if that makes sense. Let's come to the chat now, so I can address what people have said. I'm not concerned about Bob, says hot shit. He's definitely more of a long-term interior, definitely. I do agree with that. And this is it. This is the thing, Akagami, isn't it? Like, we all know that Shirky isn't a winger. In the same way, we all know that Marmoush isn't a winger, but there might just need to be a compromise about the off-ball and on-ball dynamics. Marmoush is absolutely better on the left, obviously, absolutely. Need to fix the right flank, definitely. Yeah, this person didn't actually understand a single word I said. Thank you for exposing yourself. I think in this is more of a long-term... Oh, sorry, I was just talking about in general. This wasn't with a view for the Bournemouth game. This was just more like general conversation and discussion, that sort of thing. I don't actually know about the Bournemouth game. Who knows? Maybe, because I'm going to do my tactical preview tomorrow, who knows? Maybe I'll go gung-ho and predict it for vibes. Yeah? I'm probably not going to predict that. But I'd be very surprised if we saw a midfield of Nico, Foden, Shirky against Bournemouth of all teams. I'm not saying it can't happen. Just be very surprised if that's what he went for. Very surprised. I wouldn't mind seeing it, though, for fun. Yes, it's not a hard concept either, is it, Fireborn? I'll repeat, the example was Foden limited in the centre in his Player of the Year season when he was actually played in the centre on ball? The answer is no. He was limited where he was played there on and off ball. But there wasn't a problem when he was given access to the centre on ball. Play the new FM, guys. They have in possession, out of possession tactics. Yeah, in it, Ariman, in it. Not sure about Savio as a sub. He's versatile, can play both wings. He can, absolutely. Pep's been playing him as the right centre, but yes, he has for the most part. Absolutely, he has, definitely. Only overlapped in the Burnley game, Sachin. Yeah, did he also do it in the Brighton game? I can't remember. I don't know. Can't remember. The both that's the Brighton one. Maybe, I don't know. Excuse me. Pep seems to be leaning into the back three. He does, definitely. He does. He's already changed it a fair few times. He started with a 2-3, and now he's already gone back to a 3-2. Or a 3-1 sometimes. Which is interesting. If that's true, Akagami, then that is a concern because the ceiling of this team is one that has both of them in it. I'm very convinced of that. If Pep can't, and here's the thing, if Pep Guardiola, in my opinion, the greatest manager in football history, if he can't figure out a way to get Foden and Shirky into the team at the same time, giving them access to their preferred areas of the pitch, whilst not making it a horrendous a situation where it can't work off ball, then he's not the manager that I think he is. Let's put it that way. I'm so... If he reaches the conclusion that he can't do it, then my viewing of him as a manager massively declines. I just can't even entertain the idea that that is what he is as a tactician. I can't... There's no way for me he looks at it, knowing what I think I know about Pep, there is surely no way that he looks at those two players and goes, it's one or the other. I've got to sacrifice one to accommodate the other. If he's looking at it like that, then that's a big concern for me. That is a big tactical concern. I don't think anyone can handle Semenyo, to be honest. He did chess. Absolutely. But for the most part, you had one of them playing as one of the strikers, and you had the other out wide, off ball. On ball, they played together in midfield, and it was a beautiful time had by all. We can't use inside forwards on both wings, so that means Marmoush can't play if Shirky's on right wing. Why can't we? You just have double overlapping fullbacks. You definitely could do that. I don't think I agree. Fun haters. I mean, the first two words of this comment are absolutely insane, aren't they? Like, unless you're an Arsenal fan, why are you a Foden hater? Like, hello? But yeah, ignoring sleepers and all-round midfield. Yeah, we chatted about that, and this season, in a deeper role, he's been absolutely brilliant. He's been absolutely brilliant. I don't see why you can't see that off ball. Too much tactics. I'm not gonna lie, I mean, if you don't like tactics, you're on the wrong channel, Sonny Jim. You know, you feel free to go to a creator who, I don't know, speaks in what they called. What's the term I'm after here? Cliche and buzzwords and buzz phrases. You can do that if you'd like. I don't think you're going to be happy here, because that's what we tend to do over here. Nikaji's unlucky with the refs. He needs to lock in and do that Rodri vibe, doesn't he? Or the Fernandinho vibe, sorry. It already has. He's illustrated that it has worked. It illustrated that it has worked. A best formation is a 3-5-2 or 3-4-1-2. That's how you get the best out of everyone. Just the two that's concerning. Unless like you're saying, like Marmoush is still like a second striker. I guess that could technically work, couldn't it? Yeah. 3-4-1-2. Maybe. Yeah, for sure. Kasanov can handle Semenyo. I mean, I don't know if Kasanov is up to scratch, given his Swansea performance. To be honest with you, I don't know if I'd want to start him based on that. I don't know if that's the best game to throw him back into the team, because he did struggle against Swansea. So I don't know. Yeah, Fern's been playing, isn't he, this season, which has been lovely. Fern hates our United love. So not all Arsenal fans as well in general, but yeah, there are still certain City fans who really don't like Foden, and it's like you mustn't be a City fan then. Clearly, it's very odd. People are weird though, aren't they? People are really weird. Gosh, United stand. Oh dear. Two players in the middle who can't defend and offer nothing physically. You can't be talking about Foden there. Surely. Can't be talking about Foden, who outside of our defending players has been our best defensive player this season. There's no way you can be talking about Foden there, surely. Surely. Can we get the board out? See, for a second there, I thought you were talking about like the Man City board. I was like, what? Yeah, we can get the tactics board out, definitely. Absolutely we can. Absolutely we can. Rodri could return to City action against Bournemouth. Big up. My thoughts on Marmoush's last performance. I felt that he struggled for the most part, but he was fantastic for the goal. He looks like a player who hadn't played much football since his injury, basically. That's what he looks like to me. And I'd say that for Kasanov, I'd say that for Ait Nouri. All these players looked like they hadn't played football in a while, which is fair, because they haven't played football in a while. It was like Rodri. I mean, Rodri's still coming back from injury, but you know, like at the Club World Cup and like the start of the season, he looked like he'd been out for a year, which is understandable because he had been out for that long, so it's not a problem at all. It's not a problem at all. Some did want Verts instead. Yeah, it should go. And that really exposed a lot of people, because these people were almost they were like gleefully talking about how, and Foden's gonna hold bench for the rest of the thing, as if signing a number 10 wouldn't be to Foden's benefit. That just tells me like how short-sighted these people are. It's crazy. Yeah, we can get the tactics board out, definitely. Get Calhoun now, little fraud. I'd be surprised if Ryan Nunes didn't start as fullback at same Fenway. I'd be very, very surprised. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'd be very surprised if they didn't do that. Right. Let's I just need to move this. Do I? No, that can be there. That's fine. Deal of the day of Vert's taking first spot more than the actual player, yeah. Again, it's just really weird. I don't understand why he became like the scapegoat for last season. Still don't really get it. It's very odd. Very odd. Some people are weird though, aren't they? Thankfully, they aren't in this chat. They're on Twitter and are weird. Well, there were some in this chat, and thankfully they don't come around anymore. Because they got banned. Because we don't want toxicity in our situation, do we? Right. Okay. Okay, guys, here is the difference between the on-ball and off-ball. Let's get Trafford at number 9, yeah? Let's get Trafford at number 9, no. Right, let's get everyone out off the pitch, sorry. Let me illustrate with examples what I meant by that, just because some people were still confused. So let me do that. Trafford my striker, yeah, big up to him. Guys, at some point, I want to see Yoshko at right wing. At some point, I want to see Yoshko at right wing. Low key, I think he would do really good there. I think he'd do really good there. But anyway, I wasn't being no Fenway. I wasn't being specific with anyone there. I was just talking about like the people who like come into this chat and say things like he needs to take the game by the scruff of the neck. I wasn't talking about another streamer. I was talking about people who come to this chat and just want to be spoon-fed that shit. Do you know what I mean? That's not what we do over here. We'll see Haaland centre-back. Yeah, great point. Let's do that. Haaland centre-back with big rodders. No. Okay. So. Big Don in goal, obviously. Now, where's Big Earl? There he is. Obviously, that's a thing. Let's pop in. Diaz and Yoshko have been our main centre back, so let's go for that. Donnarumma right wing. Is he? I have him down as more of a lefty. No. Where's Ruben? Where is Ruben? Where's Diaz? Hello, there he is. Horn centre back and Yoshko right wing might work. Okay, so I'm just gonna pop in. Doesn't matter which one it is, like Nori or O'Reilly, because they can both do the same role, can't they? Nunes has been our main right back this season, so let's go for that. Trafford DM, they'll never see it coming. This is how you play 2 goalkeepers in one team. Foden goalkeeper, yeah. Now, what do I want to say? Let's get Nico into the team. Now, I do think that there are definitely situations where we would want to see both Rodri and Nico in the team. I definitely think that is a thing. And what I would do in that case is I would probably do something like that. If you wanted to have Rodri and Nico, because that off ball is actually comfortably our best midfield 3, and there's actually not even a debate, to be fair. So I wonder, this is a totally different tangent point. I wonder if when they're all fully fit, I wonder away against fucking Newcastle or away against a quarter-final Champions League tie where you're 1-0 up or 2-0 up. I wonder if this is something that City go for. Or you could be even more extreme, actually, and do that. Even though I do think Foden's actually been better than Bernardo off ball this season. But if you wanted to go even more insane, I suppose you could technically do that. But I'm not sure that's... I think in that situation, Pep would probably rather just play Bernardo out wide at right wing. But regardless, that's a tangent point. This could definitely be... I would argue this would definitely be City's best off-ball midfield. Again, this is just a tangent point that I wanted to bring up. Basically, I would view it as, do you play Reinders or Nico in that situation? Ichigo. And Foden has been better than Reinders off-ball this season, so that's a thing. But for now, let's assume that only one of Nico or Rodri is going to play. I am going to pop Nico in there for now, just because he's the one who has been playing the majority of City's minutes at defensive midfield and that sort of thing. But yeah, there's no doubt that, Nico, Rodri, little Phil, that would be our best off-ball midfield based on what we've seen so far this season. Anyway, now what was I talking about earlier? Let's just pop in Doku, because he's been our best left wing, hasn't he? Let's pop in Doku, just for argument's sake. Now, what I was talking about earlier with this whole, Shirky at right wing thing, which might be a way to ease him into the team. I'll repeat, I'm not saying that this is what's going to happen. I'm not saying that this is how Pep views it, because he clearly doesn't. Otherwise, he would have done it. I'm just saying that this is what I might like to see, because I think it's a nice way to incorporate and embed him into the sides. So this is all just my opinion. So I'm not saying this is going to happen or this is what Pep will do, because clearly he doesn't want to do this. This is like a thought experiment. I like the video, guys. What I would do, obviously, I'm keeping Foden in the midfield. Specifically, I'm keeping him left of centre in the midfield. And the more and more I'm watching of Foden this season, and the more and more I'm watching of Reinders this season, and the more and more I'm watching of Shirky this season, I'm becoming even more steadfast in my belief that Foden's best position has been and is left of centre. And that's coupled by the fact that Reinders' best performances have been at right of centre, and Shirky's best performances have also been at right of centre. So I'm popping Foden in left of centre based on his work, but also based on the work of his partners. The only question mark you could have is if you want to have that more solid midfield that we talked about earlier, maybe then you actually do play Foden right of centre, because Nico ain't going to offer too much of a goal threat. The whole midfield outside of Rodri's long shots aren't going to offer much of a goal threat, in which case you probably do want Foden playing right of centre where he can be that goal threat. But that's an extreme scenario and not one that we're really discussing at length today. So this is my starting point. The reason why, just to briefly touch on it, because again, some people weren't understanding, the reason why, I'm not shoving Foden out to the wings off ball and popping Shirky centrally on ball is because you're creating an unnecessary weakness by doing that. Because Foden is better in the centre off ball than Shirky is. So immediately you're creating a weakness. Foden's also demonstrated this season how good he's been off ball in the centre and hasn't played out wide, apart from the game against Arsenal where he played right wing back, which not even as a right winger. So I don't really, as a concept, I don't really get the calls for play Foden off ball out wide and Shirky on ball centrally. I don't really get what the thinking is there. I don't understand what net positive they're trying to create there. I don't really understand it. I still haven't quite figured it out. Some people were saying at the start of the stream, I don't really get it, because you're that's like you're creating you're solving a problem that doesn't exist. You're creating solutions to dilemmas that don't exist and actually just making the situation worse. So I don't really, I'll repeat, I don't understand what the thought process is there. In whether it's moving Foden or Shirky, I don't really get that. So the two solutions that we had a chat about. So if this is our starting point, and this is certainly my starting point, we've got that back four, got that goalkeeper, we've got the defensive midfielder, Haaland is Haaland, and we have like an actual winger in Doku on the pitch as well. Okay. So that means that there are two areas for Shirky to play. Therefore, that's what it means. It means that it's the two areas that we have discussed at length in this stream. It means you either play him at right wing off ball, or you play him centrally off ball. Shirky raw, crazy. I mean, I'm a big fan of Shirky. I don't know if I'm that much of a fan of him, dearie me. You guys do you, though. We don't judge out here. I mean, we do judge heavily, but we don't judge that sort of thing. We don't judge orientation at all. In which case, this would lend itself to you need a proper. I wouldn't like this dynamic, for example. And to be fair, we did see this dynamic against Swansea. I didn't like it. I think that if you're going to play Shirky at right centre midfield, what you really should be after is a right-sided presence / outlet who is going to make it absolutely certain that Shirky doesn't have to drift out to that right wing. Yeah? You get what I mean? So I think that if you are opting to play Shirky in the centre, then what I would really like to see is a proper outlet out wide on that right side. In which case that would be Savio, who's really our only true right-sided outlet. You know, Bob ain't that. Doku, I suppose, could be that, but he's been so good at the left. So that's what I would like to see. That's what I would like to see. Definitely, Brian, that's a very good point. He does track back a lot. He's a very good presser. He's a very intense presser anyway. He could still learn how to bend his runs sometimes, but he definitely gives it his all. He's definitely an intense presser. I totally agree with that. Sorry. So this is something that could technically be a thing. This could technically be a thing. This is the midfield outside. I mean, okay. This is the exact midfield that we've been playing all season. So yes, Foden has been a box-to-box player this season. I don't know what games you've been playing, Sunshine. Watching, sorry. You only need Nunes if Shirky plays on the right, says JS. Oh yeah, I've just put Nunes there because he's been our main right-back option. But yes, that's absolutely a knock-on effect of if you can get around. Let's just say that there are no issues with having Shirky at right central midfield here. That does absolutely mean that you don't necessarily need this overlapping option at right back. That's not necessarily a thing or a problem. So in which case you could play, Kusanov and just have him in like a back three if you so desired. In fairness, Nunes has been playing very good as a right centre back. So just for the purposes of examples and placeholders, I am going to be keeping him there. But yeah, you are absolutely right. That would eliminate the necessity. That would eliminate the necessity of having an overlapping right back option outright. That would absolutely be a thing. The other option, which we had a conversation about, and then we don't need to have the worry about the on-ball, off-ball, because that just sorts itself out. The other way of doing it, the way that I would personally prefer to do it, because I want it to be slowly amalgamation mode, would be to play like a proper option in Nunes, and then have like an actual midfielder in the midfield. Now, and again, this is off ball. This is off ball. This introduces 0 off-ball weaknesses, by the way. 0 in the first instance. Or certainly none more so than we have seen this season anyway. The other one potentially does. It depends a lot on how quickly Shirky can adapt and get up to it and that sort of thing. This one certainly doesn't. So this is why I keep saying this is my personal preferred one, even though I don't think it's what we're going to see. But I'd like to see it personally. Now, how does this work on ball? Well, what would happen in this scenario is that you could... Let me just move these away for a second, just for my own brain. Nunes can push up. And in fairness, this can be O'Reilly or Aït-Nouri, because we actually saw Aït-Nouri play as a left centre-back. It basically do the Nunes role against Swansea. So you can run it two ways. You can have a 2-3, in which case it's just Diaz and Yoshko at the back, or Gvardio, Kusanov, whoever, 2 centre-backs at the back. Or you can still create a back 3 with your left-back. Because we've seen, even though I don't think, O'Reilly is a centre-back, I don't think that Aït-Nouri is a centre-back, we have seen Pep play Aït-Nouri as a left centre-back against Swansea, so maybe that's something in his mind. So it doesn't matter which way you look at it. You can look at it as O'Reilly stays in the back 3. You can look at it as O'Reilly pushes up to the midfield. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. In which case, you can have this as a potential situation. Alternatively, you could have that, which I might prefer. Arn, thank you so much for your super chat. I'll put Marmoush left forward. Absolutely. That could definitely be a usage of him, 100%. So the good thing is that there are options here to get Shirky centrally. Easily, no problem. The first option, which is the one I just outlined initially, is to just play a 3-2-5 / a 3-2-2-3. This is reliant on Reinders becoming more comfortable with his deeper role, and I think that he would absolutely have to do this. This is maybe his biggest area of struggle if you're going to play this 3-2. But alternatively, we've seen for the most of this season, we've actually played a 3-1, more of a diamond in the midfield. So, and that actually makes it easier for Reinders. It does put more burden on Nico, but he's been exceptional defensively this season. All of a sudden, look at this. Look at this. Solid back three. Not a problem there. Obviously, got Big Don in goal as well. The midfield, that's not really much different to what we've been playing for a lot of this season. Not really. The only key difference is instead of it being O'Reilly pushing up, it's Núñez pushing up. This could absolutely be a really good way to make it work and get them in the team. If you want a more stable back three, absolutely that is a situation. Now, it's not ideal with the defenders, and I would probably still what I would rather here's my naughty team that I'd like to see. This is what I'd like to see personally. Something like that. Or, alternatively, that. Something like that. Either or, I wouldn't really mind. I think that would be really cute, though. I think that'd be really lovely. I guess it just depends, you know, do you want O'Reilly to be the one more so pushing up? And I probably would prefer that. Or do you want Reinders to be the one more so pushing up? I think the latter is probably a little bit better. Because this now means that O'Reilly and Doku can rotate much easier. So that still gives Doku central access at times. And this is, I believe that a shape like that, or the one I did before this, based on these players anyway, is profiling all of these players very perfectly, essentially. If you're having this situation. So, outside of maybe Reinders, but I think he's got to learn the and just get adapted to it. Because if you have something like this, once again, where really it's more of a, or you can even have that. You can even have that. With Foden dropping slightly deeper on ball in some instances. You could definitely have that as well. 3 at the back is definitely more realistic. So maybe let's go back to that. And we do know that it's going to be Diaz starting over Cassano for the vast majority. So let's go back to a back three for a second, even though that's my preferred option. I don't like that, actually. Oh, no, actually. Oh, I don't like Diaz right centre-back. But I think you would have to do that, wouldn't you? You'd probably have to do that. Is there a workaround? Not really, sadly. I've just realised, I don't want to play Diaz right centre-back. This is why I like to do things on stream. I don't like this. This is upsetting me. But I need that width from the right back. I need my right back to be a width boy. So that lends itself to Diaz having to do that job, which isn't ideal on any level. Unless I just do that. But let's be honest, he's not dropping a... but you'd have to play Gavardio left back then. And I don't want to play Gavardio left back. This would work. This would work in possession. This is probably the best in possession though. This is the best in possession, I'd say. Some combination of this. Some bullshit like that. That would work. But you're playing Gavardio left back off ball, and I don't like that. But it might have to be... Hey, maybe it's a sacrifice you have to make at the back, I don't know. This is just a placeholder. For people calling for specific players, this is just a placeholder team, guys. Don't worry about it. Gvardiol left back, Kusanov right centre back. I just don't know if I don't want Yoshko left back. I'm so upset. I'm so upset. I really want one of O'Reilly or Aït-Nouri there. But then that does mean you got to... Why can't Diaz just be quick, man? Why can't Diaz just be quick, for God's sake? Oh, dear. It would work if you play a back two, but we know that that might not be ideal this season. That's the only concern there. But I really think you need to play one of Aït-Nouri or O'Reilly. I'm just popping in O'Reilly for argument's sake. Yeah, I don't like Diaz right. Diaz needs to be in the centre, realistically. We play a back three. What do you mean? We play a back three. What do you mean? Instead of Diaz, play Stones. I'd rather just play Kusanov at that point, to be honest, Fireborn. I'd rather just play Kusanov at that point. Also, yeah, Diaz is not getting dropped, let's be honest. Diaz could be... JS, thank you so much for the super chat, very kind. The original team you had was Cooking, Savio right wing, South right back, Shirky central, Aurelian Vertinex, Nico Unleashes, that Doku was touchline. Well, let's go back to that then. Thank you so much, JS. It's very generous. So what I've made so many teams here, I can't even remember what I did. So what we had Kusanov here. We had Savio. Where's Savio gone? There he is. Here. Have I got too many players on the pitch, right? I think I got too many players on the pitch. We do play a back three on ball. We do. There's nothing else for me to say other than we do. We play a back four off ball and a back three on ball for the majority of this season. Sometimes we play a back two on ball this season. But yes, for the most part this season, we have indeed played a back three on ball. I can't make it more straightforward than that. We just have. Anything else is an objective untruth. We just have. Yeah, so what was the team? Shirky central. O'Reilly next to Nico. Like that. That. And then it was 3-4-3. I feel like I'm missing a player here. Oh no, I probably didn't have Reinders, did I? I would have had Foden instead. Well, like that. Was that the team I had before? What are you cooking? Food poisoning. Food poisoning. I know, right? And I know. I did this whole section to make that clear, and it's still not clear. Clearly, it's my fault. I'm not a very good teacher, clearly. Oh. Right, we've got a fortune for JS, and we've got a random movie quote for Arnie for his super chat earlier. I think you get fortunes if you do a super chat £5 or over, and you get a random movie quote if it's between £2 and £5. As an FYI, in case someone's interested in that. It is within my power to drastically change his circumstances, but I don't want to give that man a gift he doesn't deserve. That is a quote from £7. Never heard of that film? Fortune for JS. Bad luck and ill misfortune will infest your pathetic... Oh my god! Right. This is the most insane fortune I've ever seen. Bad luck and ill misfortune will infest your pathetic soul for all eternity. What the fuck? That's a fortune for someone who's just given me money. That's outrageous. That's just rude. Your pathetic soul for all eternity. Fucking hell, man. Jesus. Why has it said that? That's so mean. No worries at all, Aquanda. It's fine. It's fine. It's all good, matey. You're all good. You're all good. You're all good here. Can you imagine? Really fun. I'm sorry. Good luck. Have fun. Why? Yeah, why is the fortune cookie so upset? What, JS, what have you done to it? What have you done to upset it so much? Christ, man. Right. I personally, what was I going to say? Nico. Wait. Is it? Wait. This is the team I had earlier. Is that what you're saying? JS, was this the one? Phone plays the Gundo role, you say? I'd personally like it. I'd personally be up for this. Because what you can also have, I mean, you can literally just do what we've been doing for a lot this season. Like, if you need to play a front six, which we have done, you can just do that. The only difference between this front six and the front six that we've been playing for the majority of this season when we have done that is Reinders has played instead of Shirky. But outside of that, this is the exact same in-possession shape. So there's definitely no in-possession concerns here. You just take out Reinders and pop in Shirky instead, if you want to have a front six, like to overwhelm a back five. Or you can have a more conservative front five and more conservative defensive five in the rest defense. That could also be a thing also. Hello, Musty. I actually don't know what the best... I actually don't know what the solution is now that we've had a chat about it. However, I do think that there is an answer in one of the teams that we've constructed today. I do think there is an answer. Even with Doku playing touchline, which I absolutely say is not ideal. He can play touchline because he is that sort of player. However, if we go back to what I said just then, and you have like this front six, look at how close O'Reilly and Doku are with one another. And now all of a sudden you still give him that access. So there's no reason why it can't start in a more settled on-ball shape like this. And then, like, you can just have rotations because we know Foden can drop. O'Reilly pushes on and they rotate. There's no reason why that can't happen either. Oh, sorry, no, this is not actually a... this is not a Bournemouth prediction, by the way. This is just like, we're just having a more generic chat about... getting Shirky into the team in midfield whilst I was having Foden there. That's all. This isn't actually a Bournemouth prediction necessarily. I don't know if I'm going to predict Shirky to start against Bournemouth. In fact, I'm not going to predict Shirky to start based on that. I'm not going to predict him to start in midfield until I see him start in midfield with both Foden and Reinders available. That's the only point I'm going to start doing that. That's the only time I'm going to start doing that. It also works as a 4-4-2 off-ball. You guys know 4-4-2 is my favourite. It's my favourite off-ball shape. So what you do that when if you're doing 4-4-2, which we haven't really gone to, unfortunately, this season. We are dead set on a 4-3-3. Only question mark here is Shirky's pressing from the front, but outside of that, I agree. I actually don't have any concerns with that. And for me, Sachin, this is why getting a right back is essential. It is essential. Hear me out. Okay, Fenway. Everyone gets a hear me out, okay? Everyone gets a hear me out where no one's allowed to criticize it. Everyone is allowed to hear me out. This is Fenway's. An asymmetric formation in possession will be the Pep masterclass tactic. Overload the left or the right, with Shirky and Foden providing the overload. So how does that work logistically, Fenway? Can you talk me through it? So let's say these personnel. I want to see what that looks like logistically. So what would you do? I'm assuming you're still having your back three. I'm assuming that's still a thing. So what? Like something like this? Is that what you're thinking? Is that what you're thinking? Basically, no right winger, touchline winger. Okay. So, not Savio. So, like, this? This sort of vibe. Overload the left or the right shaker before the overload. Oh, with Shirky. Oh, so you want them on the same side. So, like that. Like that. That vibe. More or less. And then you got little techie ballers over here, and they can whip it out there for Doku to be 1v1. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? Everyone gets to hear me out. Who else wants to cook? Who else wants to cook? Who else does hear me out? My OCD is triggered. Yeah. It's definitely something in my own psychosis. I don't like asymmetrical shapes, but I think that's just because of my own brain. So that's not even a tactical concern. I just don't like it for my own brain. Lewis has been outstanding in the midfield. The 2 games he's played there, especially offensively, was a lovely surprise. Yeah, definitely, mister. He's fantastic. I still like Lewis as a squad player. I just don't think that he will be I don't think he'll be a starter, that's all. It's a good point, to be fair. It's a good point. It's a good point. Okay, Aquanda, give me a hear me out. Everyone's allowed a hear me out. Everyone's allowed one. Because the whole point of a hear me out is that it's supposed to be a bit silly to then try to, you know, rationalize it. I just hope it's fun, yeah. Let's have, if you got to hear me out, guys, you got to say hear me out and give me your and then give me a thing, and then I will laugh at you or not. I won't laugh at you. It's more for fun. Because that's the point. The point of the whole point of hear me out is it's supposed to be preposterous. And it's like me. So come on, guys, get your hear me out here. Don't know what the floor is. Just don't like the look. You can do this if you swap Rodri for Reinders. So what you'd interesting. What would you do with Nico? The treble system with all Savio, Doku, Foden and Shaky behind Haaland still sounds the best for me, says Lord. I think we had a look at that before. Hear me out, give Bernardo a 3-year extension. We cannot live without him. Foden is good enough technically and creatively to play in the midfield. Absolutely, Travis, and we've seen that this season. You're absolutely spot on. My hear me out is play Rico as a striker. Okay. What? Haaland second striker. Foden and Shoki on the wings. I mean, what is going on? What abomination. What abomination are you creating here, son? Oh, God. Hear me out. Nico G in the 10. I reckon he could do that. No, brilliant. Hear him out. He might be cooking. He might be cooking. Nobbins should become a Lego cooking channel. Oh, that would be fun, Yanko. Keep it simple. Rodri and Nico G midfield with Foden and Shirky interchanging winger. Number 10, Nunes at right back. Keeping it simple. Yeah, to be fair. Lewis second striker for vibes. Oh dear. Well, we've got to the portion of the show where we're talking about Rico Lewis as a second striker and Trafford as a centre forward. So I feel like we might need to wrap it up in about 10 minutes or so. You can normally tell like when we need to think about ending a touchline talk. It either devolves into, I don't know, talk about nonsense or this. It's all fun and games until Pep watches this video and uses one of these hear me outs for Bournemouth. We got another hear me out. Abandon traditional wingers. Play Marmoush left wing. Okay, where's Omar? Where's Omar? There he is. Play Marmoush. Left wing, Haaland striker. Yep. Foden. Shirky Foden, right wing and 10. And Nico Rodri, 2 DMs. 3, 2. Am I missing a player here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm missing a player. Who else do you want? Do I need another defender? I feel like I need another defender somewhere. What are you saying? What do you want me to do for the defense? Yeah, you happy with this? Like, do you want a proper left back? Do you want a cheeky Nico? A cheeky O'Reilly? Cafunes. O'Reilly or Ainori, okay? And where do you want him to be playing? Do you want him to do you want it to be like Nico? Advancing a bit more? Or actually, do you want like O'Reilly pushing up because that then allows Marmoush to drift in centrally like that? That sort of vibe. And then Foden and Shirky interchange. Like that. Is that your vibe? Is that your vibe? To be fair, I think this is the overload thing that Fenway was talking about earlier, to be fair. Basically having Foden and Shirky play like next to each other sort of thing. And that was what was being said earlier. It's not something I like personally, but I can see the vision. You know, I can see the vision. I see the vision. Love that from you, Lil. Oh, you drunk, you damn right. Donna right winger. Hear me out. 4-2-2 system of last season. Back to high and wide wing backs. Omar, Erling strike partnership. Shirky Foden behind them. Nico double pivot. Okay, let's do that then. This, to be honest, that's what I thought we were gonna do. I thought we were gonna do that. Let's just pop in that for now, just because we're doing fun vibes, aren't we? So you'd have back to high and wide fullbacks. So I'm guessing like that. Nunes. High and wide wing backs. Omar. Erling partnership. Shirky Foden behind them. Oh, Rodri Nico. Rodri Nico pivot. Rodri Nico pivot. Back to high wing backs in Nunes and O'Reilly, I'm assuming. Omar Erling strike partnership. Shirky Foden behind them. I feel like you've given me too many players here. I know he can be in the lineups. It's just because I was just using O'Reilly. I feel like you've given me too many players. Wait, there's only 9 players here. Wait, what? 2. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, never mind. I'm down a player. Who did I need to pop in? Oh, yeah, Foden. Oh, yeah, never mind. I miscounted, I think. Where's little Phil gone? There he is. Like that. That sort of vibe. That. With his last... I'm not being funny. You know, drop Foden slightly back. Deeper. That's a good point, Fenway. Is that the team, Bernadish Soap, that you want? I'm going to say something in a second. If this is your team, let me know. What do you guys think of this team? What do you guys reckon? That works, says Kenboy. Sacrifice Haaland. Play Trafford in front of Donna as a sweeper, this guy. Can be a diamond, says JS. Don't like Foden playing that far back, says Fenway. It's very attacking. It's sick. Here's the thing, guys. Outside of Nico for Reinders, this was a team that I kept showing in my analysis videos, you know, when I was like saying based on like last season's shape. I'm not saying it's the best one, but this is what I kept pushing for with overlapping fullbacks and Foden in a deeper role. So this was sort of my dream before the start of the season, but I don't know how realistic it is. But I do like a lot about this team because you get Foden into a deeper role, which I think that he's better at. You get Marmoush incorporated, Aït-Nouri pushing up to the left. Shirky allowed access to the centre with Núñez pushing up. Of course, the problem is the spacing behind the fullbacks. That is a problem. Like, obviously, that is a thing. But hey, it is inviting counter-attacking. You're not wrong. And that is a concern. But hey, that's what Cassano's for. You know what I mean? But either way, it's going to be very fun and interesting to see what Guardiola ends up actually doing, whatever it is he does. Whatever it is he does. There was one thing, actually, before we go, there was one topic that I'm very upset that I've not actually spoken about, because I felt like this could have actually been quite a big section of the video, which is a shame. But I want to talk about it a little bit right now because it goes hand in hand with the Shirky situation. So don't go anywhere because I've still got a big thing that I want to chat about. Let me see if I can find it. I think it was a Twitter thing, a Twitter post that I saw, and it made me think. Next Ask Nobbins will hopefully be released today. So if you have a question that you want me answered or addressed in a video, then do so. Leave a comment in the most recent one. I'm also probably going to be trying to upload a member-only video today as well. So if you want to get even more content from Nobbins in your life, then that's the thing. Okay, so this was it. It was a post from Reddit that someone sent, or that I saw rather. And I want to talk about it in the context of Shirky. So, and maybe you've seen it. The post was, basically players with multiple assists to Haaland, and the argument was there'll be a Bournemouth preview on Saturday, and essentially, like, the conclusion was that it's concerning because. I should probably get it on the screen, shouldn't I, rather than just talk at you? Let me get it. And I'm not going to say I'm going to debunk it, but I am going to challenge the concerns with it, basically. That's I want to view it as, debunking it, because that's the thing. It's just data, isn't it? Okay, yeah, so, as I say, this is from Reddit. Okay. So here it is. Now, as I say, I want to sort of debunk that this is a problem. In the first instance, the numbers aren't right. That's the first thing to say. In the second instance, let's assume that they are right for a second. Now, the reason why people were suggesting that this is a problem is because outside of Kevin, no one's in double digits for City. I'll repeat that that's not even true. Because Foden's on 7 here, and it's more than 7. I can confirm that. It's at least 9. It might even be 10. Here's my thoughts on it, though. Why does this matter in a vacuum? I don't think it does. And the reason why is this. This would be a massive problem if Haaland wasn't leading the Golden Boot race and wasn't scoring goals at an obscene rate this season. This would be a problem if Haaland's goal scoring dried up when Kevin De Bruyne left the club, because the conclusion from this graph is that as an individual, the only player who is like the biggest high volume creator for Haaland is Kevin De Bruyne in his City career anyway. It would be a problem if Haaland weren't scoring goals at a ridiculous rate this season, and if he didn't have the highest expected goals this season. I'm just going to get some data here. Yeah, so he's still getting the same expected goals per 90 this season as he did in the treble season. So why is it a problem if he's still getting the service? Exactly, AI Joy. The numbers aren't even right. But I'm just saying, let's assume, which makes it even worse, but let's assume it is right. He's still getting the exact same expected goals per 90 as he did in the treble season. He's still the golden boot leader. The most goals or some of the highest goals in the Premier League. I don't know exactly where we are at with that. My camera has frozen. Goodness me, there we go. We are back. It would be a problem. But yeah, literally. What is the difference between De Bruyne getting 10 assists in a season versus 5 different City players getting 2 assists to him? The end result is Haaland scores 10 goals. How the assists are distributed is irrelevant. He's still getting more than enough service, as evidenced by the goals he is scoring, as evidenced by the expected goals he is accumulating. Edison, to be fair, I think he got like 3 to him last season alone. Edison's crazy, yeah. But do you see what I mean? Didn't Edison get 4 for him last season, I think? Was it 3? Was it 3 or 4? I don't know how many it was. It was a lot last season anyway. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, it would be a problem if we weren't scoring goals, but we are scoring goals with Haaland. If Haaland weren't getting the service, it would be a big problem. But I would actually argue, well, first of all, is there any difference? But is it better to be very reliant on one player to be always creating for Haaland? Or is it better to have different methods of doing so? The other thing to say is that right now, just having a chat about, because this always comes back to, the wingers don't score enough goals, whatever. Their whole existence is to, look at Savio, for example. Yeah, okay, he doesn't score goals, and he should do a lot better with that, obviously. But his chief function in the team is to create for Haaland as well. So this also goes hand in hand with the winger goals dilemma. I don't think you can have it both ways. I don't think you can have it both ways of, City aren't creating enough for Haaland, but then other players also need to score more goals. Really. I mean, you can technically, but I don't think that's really the talking point of this season. So I wanted to sort of debunk this. I don't think this is a problem. The numbers aren't right, but it's also not a problem. Because as Musty said here, would you rather Haaland score 10 goals or Haaland score 10 goals? As long as he's scoring the goals, who cares? And it's not even like Haaland is, overperforming. It's not like Haaland scored 15 goals from expected goals of 2. And he's not getting any service at all. And he's just, because he's the best striker in the world, he is able to outperform the bad service. That's not true. Because the expected goals are also very high up there. And we've seen it. How many chances do we keep creating for Haaland consistently? Now, yeah, okay, against Aston Villa, we didn't create enough for him. But even against Aston Villa, a very tricky game, we still created at least 1.5 good chances for him. So I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Hang on. One moment. Un momento. Un momento. I'm sure someone told me the actual number. I'm sure it's 9. It might even be 10. Can't remember. I'm trying to find it. Can't find it. But anyway, even if it were 2, nah, there were 2 chances. And again, one of them was a 1-on-1. And again, it's against Aston Villa. This is not a problem. If you think it's a problem, then I guess like you really care about where the assists are coming from rather than just the fact an assist has been made. And I personally don't understand that. Because as Musty said earlier, would you rather have a situation where Haaland scores 10 goals? Or a situation where Haaland scores 10 goals? Well, they are the same. They are the same. I don't really care. No one in the league has more goals than us this season. I don't know where this we need to score more goals comes from. Yeah. Like, we're doing fine in that department. It's not a... We're creating plenty for him. The XG tells us that. No one has more XG than him in the league. Mate, and misatching, maybe that's what it is, mate. Yeah, because then people look at this and go, ah. It's like, first of all, the numbers, I don't even think the numbers are right, because I'm sure it's 8 or 9 in the first instance. In the second instance, who cares? Who cares? Because he's still scoring lots of goals. Why does it matter if we have one uber high volume provider for him versus it's spread out? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter on any level. Who cares? Low key. I mean, high key, who cares? It's not a problem. It's not a problem. Anyway, that was just something that I wanted to address / debunk. Thank you. Hey, it's because I saw it on Twitter. I saw it on Twitter. Someone was sharing it on Twitter, and I looked at it like, first of all, I don't think that's right, but secondly, who cares? I was very confused. I was perplexed, you might say. I was perplexed as to what the concern was. Very odd. Very, very odd. The equivalent to that would be, I don't know. City score 100 goals in a season, but Haaland only gets 10 of them. Like, as long as we're scoring the goals, why does it matter who's actually scoring them? It's not a concern. That's a very good point as well. That's a very good point. Whilst I don't think it really matters for a goal scorer, because that's going to be your main source of goals, like in front of the box, obviously. If you only have one player as the main player creating for him, generally speaking, they're going to be creating those chances from the same area of the pitch, generally speaking. So if it's a right winger creating for you, generally it's going to be from the right wing. Left winger, generally from the left wing. A midfield, generally from the centre, etc. As you say, we've got left wingers doing it for him, right wingers doing it for him, deeper midfielders doing it for him, more advanced midfielders doing it for him. This creates issues for the opponent because they know that they can't just go, if it were just like isolated into one player for creativity, they can just go, right, okay, you're not doing anything, lock him up, because that's where all the creativity is. You get me? Shout out to all our beautiful members. Thank you so much for watching. There will hopefully be an Ask Nobbins later today, and there will be a Bournemouth tactical preview out tomorrow. So make sure to join me for that, or make sure to watch the video for that, sorry. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you tomorrow for those uploads and whatnot. And there'll be a post-mortem on Sunday also. No watch along because I'll be at the game. Goodbye, guys.